You know, one of the worst human experiences is just having a breakdown or losing all control over your emotions or your feelings or sometimes even your behavior. I've had that happen with me. You've probably had that happen with you, where it's just life gets to like it's feeling too much and you're either just like so mad your eyes start tearing up, or like you're so sad because something happened, and it doesn't really matter what it is. It's just very real to you in that moment. And so that's why I think this video matters, is because if you work around young people, I think we owe it to ourselves to be able to help a student to navigate through an all-out meltdown. I mean, think about the way middle schoolers and high schoolers and teenagers are wired. They're wired to just be hyper alert and hyper aware of their social surroundings. Now add a meltdown, a public meltdown into that, and that could possibly be the worst thing on earth for a student. I was doing a workshop on emotion regulation and social and emotional learning skills and stuff like that. And afterwards, I'd like to do a Q&A if there's enough time left. And somebody asked me, what are some really great techniques for when a student is just having an all-out meltdown? Like if you find a student in the hallway and they're crying, or if a student comes to you and they're just bawling, or they're angry, or you see a student that you can just tell they're about to just really lose it. And I think it actually starts before you actually get to like the tactical SEL strategies, like the counseling strategies or anything like that. Again, I think we all need to be equipped to help a student in that moment. Like if we love students, if we've dedicated our lives to helping students, we need to be able to help them go through this. So step one, I would say, get them somewhere private. There's nothing worse than losing it in front of people, right? Like for parents, you know this, like when you lose it in the grocery store on one of your kids, and then you're like, oh man, everyone just saw that. Well, magnify that times 1,000,000. That's what students are going through when they're having these horribly emotionally charged moments in front of people. Get that student, take them somewhere private immediately, help them to preserve their dignity. That'll go such a long way in building trust with that student and building a relationship with that student. Just again, get them the heck out of there and get them somewhere private. Which then leads me to thought number 2, push all of your rules to the wayside, because that student might say some really horrible stuff, like they're possessed by a demon. Like you might hear curse words and horrible words, or you might hear a part of a horrible story. And so you don't need to report that unless the student is disclosing something where they're thinking about hurting themselves, thinking about hurting somebody else, or that somebody is hurting them or is trying to hurt them. Otherwise, if they're just like dropping F-bombs and S-bombs and all the bombs, just let them, it's okay. Like you don't want to be like, watch the language, while some kid is just absolutely going through it. And then third, the last thing that I would say is don't put the pressure on yourself that you have to give advice. Like you really don't. A lot of times students just need to work through that meltdown. Research shows that it sometimes takes anywhere from like 12 to 20 minutes to get through one of those like chemical dumps that's happening in a student's head when they're going through one of these highly emotionally charged moments. So again, you don't have to be a counselor. You don't have to be a therapist. You can be a teacher. You can be a paraprofessional. You could be a secretary. You could be a media center specialist. You could be anybody in the building, and you are equipped to help a student through one of these really terrible moments. That's one of the best things that you should be able to do. So that's why I believe this matters, because it really is one of the worst parts of being a human, all of these crazy emotions that sometimes we can't get out in front of. All right, y'all. Well, I hope this helps.